Hello students. So as you know, we are doing the revision of all the chapters we have studied till today. So we have already gone through the electromagnetic waves and current electricity. So today let's revise the alternating current chapter in brief. Okay. So students, this is the chapter number 7 called as alternating current. So in that we have studied the things like we have started with the meaning of alternating current. So that means whatever the current whose magnitude and the direction of flow changes with time, means the normal current which we have studied in current electricity is also is a flow of charges. Okay, but this alternating current, the name itself indicates the name itself indicates that this current is changing. How it is changing? It is changing periodically with time. That's why it is called as alternating current. Okay, it is changing periodically with time. Okay, it is changing periodically with time. So now next we have studied some characteristics of that alternating current, isn't it? Means we have studied what is instantaneous current, what is instantaneous voltage, what is peak value, what is mean value, what is RMS value. Okay, means while studying this chapter, the whole class, the one full class I have spent to discuss the characteristics of alternating current. Okay, so now let's see them one by one in brief. Okay, so first we'll deal with peak value of alternating current. What is the peak value? It is peak. The name itself indicates peak. Means when you will get peak in a straight line, whenever we will get on maximum value, isn't it? That's why the maximum value of an alternating voltage or current, means if it is alternating voltage, if it is maximum value of alternating voltage, it is called as peak voltage. If it is value of alternating current, it is called as peak value of current. Understood? That's why in net means totally we will call this as a the maximum value of an alternating current, voltage, alternating voltage or current. So it is called as a peak value, and it is described by, represented by Vm and Am. See here, Vm and Im it is. Okay, so next we come in instantaneous value of AC. Instantaneous value, instant means at any instant, at any part, whatever the value of alternating current is there. Means if alternating current has covered two cycles, so after that two cycles, at that instant, after two cycles, whatever the value of AC will be there, that will be the instantaneous value of AC after two cycles. Otherwise, while doing a first cycle, while doing the half cycle only, if you are considering the value of current or voltage, so at that instant whatever the value you are getting, that is instantaneous value of current or instantaneous value of voltage. So at that instant time will be t. Okay, so this instantaneous value of current and instantaneous value of voltage are given by I is equal to Im sin omega t and V is equal to Vm sin omega t. Okay, so next, mean or average value. Mean or average value means what? The total value of one complete cycle. The mean value means what? The total value of current or the value of voltage for one complete cycle. Okay, next, the root mean square or RMS value of alternating current. The RMS current is, here they have told the RMS value of AC, alternating current. So the RMS value of alternating current is the equivalent DC current that would produce the same power loss as the AC has produced in a given resistor. Yes, we have studied this while doing the chapter, that we have compared the direct current with the alternating current. Okay, so by comparing whatever the value of power loss or whatever the value of current is produced by the DC at that same time in a given resistor, the AC also will produce the same amount of power loss. Means the RMS current, means the equivalent DC current that would produce the same power loss as the AC has produced in a given resistor in the same time. Means if you are supplying the DC, whatever the DC current may have produced the value of power loss, the same power loss will be produced by AC also, and that is called the RMS value. Okay, next the relation between RMS value and peak value, that is given like this: I RMS is equal to Im divided by root 2. Okay, so next RMS voltage. Next is RMS voltage, that is RMS voltage is RMS value of AC voltage is peak value of AC voltage divided by root 2. I divided by root 2. We have written it already. Okay, so next one by one we are switching on to the actual syllabus or the theory of alternating current, that is inductive reactance, capacitive reactance. If you understand these two definitions, then only you can move further to the derivations. Understood? We have a big and important derivation further, right? Okay, so inductive reactance is nothing. Inductive reactance is nothing but opposition. So the inductive reactance is the opposition offered by an pure conductor in an AC circuit. Opposition offered by an pure inductor, hence it is called as inductive reactance, and it is denoted by XL. XL is nothing but omega into L. Okay, next capacitive reactance. This is nothing but the opposition offered by the capacitor, hence it is the opposition offered by a pure capacitor for an AC circuit. It is denoted by XC. XC is equal to 1 by omega C. Okay, so next we have discussed in detail about power also. Power dissipated in an AC circuit, that is P is equal to V into I. Normally we can write the P is equal to V into I. So when you are deriving the power in AC circuit, you will get P is equal to V RMS into I RMS into cos pi. And also we have studied power factor. The ratio of true power to apparent power is called as the power factor. Okay, while discussing the chapter, the definitions I told there, they may be somewhat different. Means words we used, meaning will be same throughout. Whichever video you watch, whichever book you go through, the meaning will be different, same, but the wordings or the sentence formation may be different, but don't worry much about that. Okay, so this power factor is cos pi is equal to R divided by Z. Okay, so next, this wantless current bandwidth, they are not for us. Okay, so we have studied about quality factor, isn't it? We have derived the derivation also for it. Means we have a bit theory also on quality factor. So sharpness of resonance is denoted by the quality factor. What is sharpness of resonance? See here, whenever we'll get a graph like this, so what we get a peak, a sharp peak we will get. So that is sharpness of resonance. So that sharpness of resonance is denoted by quality factor, or you can also say it as a Q factor, and it is given by the formula resonance frequency divided by band width, omega naught L divided by R. Or after substituting the values, we will get the formula as 1 by R into square root of under root L divided by C. Okay, so what is resonant frequency? So initially I'll discuss only the definitions, then we'll go through the derivations. Okay, So in a series LCR circuit, for a particular frequency of input AC voltage, the current in the circuit becomes maximum. Understood? In a circuit where we are getting the series LCR circuit, means in that circuit we are connecting the inductance, capacitance and reactance in series. So to that circuit for a particular frequency of input AC voltage or input AC current, the circuit becomes maximum. Means at some point the circuit will show us the maximum results, maximum outputs. So this phenomena is called as what? Electrical resonance. And that frequency whatever you will get at the time of electrical resonance is called as what? Resonance frequency. This also we have studied in detail. Just remember the definition of electrical resonance and resonance frequency. Okay, and also we had one formula for electrical resonance. So how we can get it? We have to equate the inductive reactance and capacitive reactance. We have to equate them. So you know already XC will have such value and XL is having one value. By equating all those things and shifting the remaining terms to this side, we will get omega naught is equal to 1 divided by square root of LC. Or in the place of omega naught, if you substitute 2 pi V, so you will get V naught is equal to 1 by 2 pi into square root of L into C. This is the resonance frequency. This mu is nothing but mu naught is nothing but what? Resonance frequency. This mu naught is nothing but what? This is resonant frequency. Okay. Next. Then we studied about transformers also. We have studied about transformers. Okay, isn't it? So transformer is nothing but what? It is also one electrical device which is used to increase or decrease AC voltage or AC current. Means to variate the values of AC current and AC voltage, we use transformers. And on which principle transformer works? Transformer works on the principle of mutual induction. And also you know there are some energy losses. We have studied in detail about that energy losses also. Flux leakage, because of flux leakage there will be energy loss. Because of resistance of the windings, windings means you know it already. Here we are having the winding of the several wires, isn't it? That because of that resistance in that winding also you may get the energy loss in the transformer, and because of eddy current also you may get the energy loss in the transformer. Okay, now one more important definition related to transformer is turns ratio. What is the turns ratio? Ratio of number of turns in the secondary to the number of turns in the primary is called as turns ratio. T is equal to Ns divided by Np. Okay, if the transformer is assumed to be 100% efficient, means in that transformer we don't have any kind of energy loss, means there are not at all any energy loss in that transformer, so that is said to be what? 100% efficient. So if in that case you will get the Vs into Ip, small ip is equal to Vp into Is, where that Ip is what? Current in primary, and Is is what? Current in secondary, and you will get the ratio like this. Okay, and you already knew that in the transformer we had two types: step up transformer, step down transformer. What is step up transformer then? If the secondary coil has a greater number of turns than the primary, then the voltage is stepped up. Means the number of turns or the windings are more in the secondary coil, then the voltage is stepped up. If the secondary coil is lesser, it has less windings, then the voltage is stepped down in that transformer. That is called as step down transformer. And also we come with the efficiency of the transformer, that is output power divided by input power. Eta is the efficiency of the transformer. Okay, next we'll get some 2 marks or 3 marks questions now. AC voltage applied to a resistor means how you are getting the equations. I is equal to I n sin omega, I is equal to I naught sin omega t, or V is equal to V naught sin omega t. That peak values are there. Now how you are getting it? Now consider one circuit where we are having one source and one resistor. Okay, so let the voltage across the source be V is equal to Vm sin omega t. Okay, from the loop rule what we have, minus IR plus V is equal to 0. IR products, KVL, Kirchhoff's voltage law. There we are getting IR products. Because of that we will get this equation. Now keeping I this side and taking V by R, and you already know that V is nothing but what? V is nothing but Vm sin omega t divided by R. So you will get I is equal to Im sin omega t, where Im is equal to Vm divided by R is the amplitude of the current. So from these equations 1 and 2, the phase difference between the current and voltage is 0 because they are same. V is equal to Vm sin omega t, I is equal to Im sin omega t. The omega t is same for both of them. So the voltage and current are in phase with each other and they don't have any phase difference. Okay, so we are having a phase diagram over here. I already told you, you will getting means whenever you show a point or which is showing the alternating voltage or current, you will draw that from the origin. So you will get a position vector which will describe as the position of that voltage or current, and that is called as phasor. And when you represent it like this, you will call it as a phasor diagram. See here also we are having like this. So while doing the chapter only I told you, whenever the current and I are traveling like this in this graph, see here, it's very essential to calculate them so that we can get if the whether the current and voltage are in phase or they are out of phase, or one is lagging and one is leading, like that. All these things we can understand by using the phasor diagrams only. Okay, so now next thing, AC voltage applied to an inductive circuit. So now what will be the relation between current and voltage here? Now see, so here we are considering again the circuit. Okay, so the voltage across the source is V is equal to Vm sin omega t. So from the rule we are getting like this, Okay, now we have obtained di by dt is equal to Vm sin omega t divided by L. So now to get the I, we have to integrate this di by dt. Understood? So integration of differentiation is what? Nothing. Means it is integration of differentiation of x is what? X only, because differentiation and integration get cancels. Okay, so to obtain the current we will integrate this, and see here that integration and differentiation have been removed. So I is equal to minus Vm divided by omega L cos omega t plus cos tan omega t. So you will get a cos omega t. So I is minus Vm divided by omega L cos omega. So that is I, means after substituting the values and simplification you will get I is equal to Im sin omega t minus pi by 2. See, while you have connected the AC source to the resistor, you have not got any such kind of angle over there. But when you are connecting it to a inductor, you are getting omega t minus pi by 2. Means by comparing the equation 1 and 2, you can show that the voltage leads the current by. Okay, so while we are considering the AC voltage applied to a inductor, between the voltage and the current we are getting some difference. How? See here, V is equal to Vm sin omega t and I is equal to Im sin omega t minus pi by 2. Means this minus pi by 2 is an extra term here. Okay, so this pi by 2 is a difference we are getting here. So that means what? The voltage, the current and the voltage are not same here. This minus pi by 2 is an extra term we are getting. That clearly indicates what? See here. Here sin omega t you are having. Here we are having sin omega t minus pi by 2. Means to become equal to the voltage, we are subtracting that pi by 2 from the current. That means what? Current is having a lesser value than the voltage. So we can conclude here as the voltage leads the current. Voltage leads the current. Means voltage is greater than the current, or in turn we can say the current lags behind voltage with the term pi by 2. Means voltage leads the current by pi by 2, or current lags behind the voltage by pi by 2. This is the case when we are connecting the AC voltage to the pure inductive circuit. Okay, so next we are connecting the AC voltage. We are applying the AC voltage to a capacitor. So what happens when you are connecting the AC voltage to the capacitor? See here, with the source in this tank circuit we are having the capacitor. So let the voltage across the source be V is equal to Vm sin omega t. From the loop rule, see here, V minus Q divided by C is equal to 0. This is the voltage, this is the charge. So Q is equal to CV is equal to C into V you are getting. But from the equation 1, you already know that V is equal to Vm sin omega t. The steps we followed while discussing the chapter may be different, but the whole result, the result we are getting at the last will be the same. Okay, so here by substituting the value of V as Vm sin omega t, we are getting I is equal to C Vm omega cos omega t. Again we are getting I is equal to Im sin omega t plus pi by 2. So this Im we are replacing, this C, Vm and omega we are replacing by Im and substitute and differentiating. dq by dt is there, na? Differentiating cos omega t is sin omega t plus pi by 2. So see here what's happening here? The equation 1 is V is equal to Vm sin omega t, and the equation 2 or equation 3 is I is equal to Im sin omega t plus pi by 2. So in the case of inductor you got minus pi by 2, here we are getting plus pi by 2. That means what? The current is having the greater value than the voltage, isn't it? Means by adding pi by 2 to the current, we are getting the voltage. That's why we can say that current is greater here. So that means what? The current is leading the voltage and voltage is lagging behind the current with the term pi by 2. Understood? This is the thing when we are connecting the AC voltage to the capacitor. And in the same case we are getting the phasor diagram also. See here, this solid line of graph is showing what? The voltage, and the dotted line in the graph is showing the current. So here when this voltage is at 0, current is already at pi by 4. That clear means current is already as pi by 2. It is here. So clearly here you can show that current is leading the voltage. See here, when current completes its cycle, if it is started from here, it completed one full cycle, but the voltage is still at its half cycle. So half cycle is nothing but what? Pi by 2. So current is forward and voltage is just following it. So this you can conclude by the concept of AC voltage applied to a capacitor. Okay, so now this is when we are connecting the AC voltage to the resistor, capacitor, inductor separately. But now the important thing we are discussing in this chapter is when AC voltage is applied to all the current elements, means we are using the resistor also, capacitor also, and the inductor also, means to all these current elements which are connected in series. If you apply the AC voltage, what happens? So that thing is explained by AC voltage applied to a series LCR circuit. Why series LCR circuit? The inductor, capacitor and the resistor are connected in series, LCR, series LCR circuit. Okay, now let's start. In this also we are having the source, and that source is having the voltage V is equal to Vm sin omega t, and the current in the circuit be Im sin omega t plus phi. So here you can conclude that pi is the phase difference between I and V. Now the magnitude of the phasors we are considering, VR, VC and VL, that is Im into R, Im into XC, Im into XL. XL and XC are inductive and capacitive reactances. So from this we are drawing the phasor diagram, and we are writing Vm square, Vcm square, Vlm square. Okay. So if you substitute the values here and just simplifying the terms, taking Im common, so you will get R square plus XC minus XL whole square. Okay, so by rearranging the terms, simplifying again, Vm is equal to Im into square root of R square plus XC minus XL whole square. And this Im, if you keep this at LHS, so you will get Vm is divided by square root of R square plus XC minus XL whole square. Means this is Vm divided by Z, you can consider. That is nothing but the peak value of the current. So the value of Z will be the square root of R square plus XC minus XL whole square. So this is also nothing but a resistance only, but hence it is in the AC circuit, will give it a name impedance. Understood? This Z is called as what? Impedance of the circuit, which limits the current in the LCR circuit, means which opposes the current in the LCR circuit, and hence you are using a AC source here, you have to call it as the impedance circuit. Understood? Now also you can draw the angle tan pi is equal to XC minus XL divided by R. Okay, this was the important derivation in the chapter AC, alternating current. Okay, and also we had the explanation of transformer also, means the construction and working of the transformer with its proper diagrams. You have to show the windings properly, you have to show the setup of that plates properly. Okay, and the energy losses taking place in the transformer, or the how the energy is being transformed there from the source to the users, how the energy is being transformed, that also one whole concept is there. And also the energy losses, which kind of energy losses are taking place in the transformer, that also you have to take care of, and how you can overcome those energy losses. Okay, means you may get this question in the annual exam also, how to overcome that energy losses, or what are the energy losses in the transformer, or how the energy or how the power is being transformed in the transformer from the source, from the AC source to the users, how it is being transformed, or construction and working of the transformer, that also you have to take care of. Okay, so this is all about the alternating current chapter. So I think we have revised it well and enough. Okay, so by you keep those videos with you, whenever you feel any doubt in any concept, you can watch the videos, or still if you have any doubts you can ask me. Okay, thank you.